Every Ghostface has a motive, but not all of them deserve the mask. From wannabe killers and copycats to the masterminds who redefined horror, I'm ranking every Ghostface in the Scream franchise by motive, impact, and originality. Then I'll give my final verdict on each of them. We'll start with the weakest killers to ever pick up a voice changer, and work our way up to the icons who changed Woodsboro forever. Grab your popcorn and your caller ID, because Ghostface is on the line. Number 13, Jason and Greg from the Scream 6 opening. Motive: copycat stab fanboys idolizing Richie Kirsch. Richie Kirsch? I mean, you can't get less interesting than that. No offense to Richie, but I mean, at least idolize Billy or Stu or something. But it does at least make a remark on the originality of horror villains today. Everything is a copy of something else, if that was the intent. Impact: great twist opening, zero longevity. Basically a one and done, but it won't be remembered down the road unless they bring Stu back for Scream 7, and it turns out they were part of his cult this whole time. Then they might be more or less important to the ongoing series. Time will tell. Originality: when Ghostfaces start getting killed, that's at least doing something a little bit different. But these characters were literally introduced and killed before you could even get settled in your chair at the theater. Verdict: cinema majors who failed the class in the first 5 minutes. This seems to tell me that the motives moving forward will do away with this artificial copycat killing, and the final Ghostface killer reveals in this movie strengthen this theory. Number 12, Ethan Landry from Scream 6. Motive: another accomplice, another body to clean up. I mean, we could see where this was going, right? Same family revenge motive as his dad, and he's the token muscle, I guess. Same motive as his sister, but somehow dumber at the same time. At this point in the series, there's too many returning survivors from Scream 5 that he was the most obvious one of the group. They really try to misdirect you as him being one of the good guys, too. Impact: he's the cannon fodder of the trio. He won't be remembered much beyond that one guy who helped his dad in the series. Originality: zero. Copy of a copy. I can't say he'll be remembered, even in the next movie. Verdict: Discount Dewey turned Discount Ghostface. Number 11, Quinn Bailey from Scream 6. Motive: like her brother, Quinn's motive was family revenge, and to help with her dad's plan. I'd say this was a strong motive, but I don't have too many feelings about the sister of a copycat killer who wanted to reboot the Stab franchise. I didn't even ask for a reboot. Impact: she had a decent fake-out death and a twist reveal, but the other circumstances just lessen her impact and the overall franchise as a whole. I don't think she'll have any impact moving forward in the series. She may have had a bigger impact if this happened earlier in the franchise. Originality: solid, but the surprise survival trick was done before. Also, the shocking, angry family member thing was also done before. Also, literally everything here was done before. Verdict: Quinn was about as shocking a reveal as her brothers in the film that preceded it, but it still feels cheap. She's also a sidekick accomplice, which, if you're not going to be on the level of Stu Macher, then get the fuck out. Stu Nation, rise up! Number 10, Charlie Walker from Scream 4. Motive: Charlie was a decent reveal as you could see the motive, but his personality didn't line up for your typical Ghostface. That's good for misdirection, I suppose. He wanted the fame that came with a national murder story. He was your typical film nerd and acted out of jealousy and his love for Jill. Basically a more lovesick version of Stu Macher. But at least he actually had a goal in mind. However, he was nothing compared to the unparalleled psychopathy of Jill. Impact: that all said, his impact was minor and overshadowed by Jill's reveal. See, once Jill went rogue and decided that there would be a sole survivor, he was revealed to be little more than a pawn in her schemes, and dismissed just as quickly. Originality: it was a slight remix of Mickey's film theory killer, but with a nerdy twist. Feels very familiar though at this point. Verdict: Charlie was a mostly forgettable Ghostface, and the only thing that really made him memorable was his love of the Stab movies, which is about as meta as it gets, and the reason for his low ranking. Number 9, Amber Freeman from Scream 2022. Motive: same toxic fan obsession as Richie Kirsch, but with even less actual reason to do any of it as she's not even personally involved. It's like the movie just needed an accomplice and Amber was free that day. Impact: she had that unhinged insanity like Stu Macher did, but you could clearly see her copycat moves from a mile away. She won't be remembered except to fuel the impending reveal in Scream 7 that Stu Macher was controlling both her and Richie all along. Originality: well, she was the first Ghostface to go completely flamethrower psycho on screen, so there's that. Verdict: Amber didn't just light the franchise back up, she set it ablaze with her fiery personality. Okay, I'll stop. Number 8, Richie Kirsch from Scream 5. Motive: so, Scream 5 was a strange case. Richie's grand plan was to fix the Stab franchise. Basically, he was toxic fandoms personified. His motive wasn't personal, it was parasocial. He dated Sam just to add legacy clout to his rebooted true crime script. Richie literally cast himself as a modern Billy Loomis, a killer-director hybrid trying to reboot Stab back to its roots. Like a psychopathic filmmaker who'd kill for a good shot. No, not that one. The crazy part? His plan mostly worked. Whether he killed Sam or not didn't matter. His massacre became part of the Scream mythos, guaranteeing his creative contribution would live on in the next Stab sequel. Impact. He rebooted Ghostface for Gen Z audiences, and officially gave us the requel treatment that's somehow both a sequel and a reboot at the same time. Sure, it's impacted the sequel's killers, but at this point it feels like a copy of a copy, trying to convince us it's fresh ink. Originality. An internet culture motive works sometimes, but this one had flat execution. Not enough personal stakes to really make it feel worth your time. Verdict. Richie's an unapologetic and meta retread of Billy Loomis. Same setup, weaker motive, and about as original as a Stu Macher is Alive video. They tried every fake out imaginable. Liv, Mindy, Chad, and even Dewey. But no one was buying it. The audience clocked him a mile away. Still, his copy and paste killings managed to ripple into Scream 6, proving even the worst reboots leave sequels in their wake. Number 7. Jill Roberts from Scream 4. Motive. Though a bit of a retread of Mickey's motives, it had an interesting twist. See, because Jill's situation was a bit of fame envy. Instead of being immortalized as a Ghostface killer in the press, she wanted to be the incumbent hero of the franchise and all the attention that came with it. She basically wanted Sidney's fame without all the baggage. All while being a total psycho and trying to achieve that highly publicized victim status. Impact. Modernized the franchise meta theme for the social media era. This took the series in a bold new direction that would affect the motive of every Ghostface killer moving forward to some degree. Originality. The first Ghostface, whose motive was influencer-level narcissism. This is way before TikTok and the onset of influencer culture on YouTube as well, which flings Jill's character into full-on culture prediction territory, and was scarily accurate. The satirical edge to this was on point. Verdict? Jill Roberts, the scary fake victim psychopath you pray you never match with on Tinder. Because 5 minutes later, you're framed for her crimes and trending on true crime TikTok as the boyfriend who did it. Number 6. Mickey Altieri from Scream 2. Motive. Mickey has the distinct disadvantage of being the second accomplice in another Ghostface killer's scheme, which reduces his personal stakes somewhat. What Mickey wanted was fame via a televised trial, a proto-celebrity killer, which makes an interesting statement on how the media glorifies serial killers. Impact. This brought the media spectacle angle to the series, which would influence how each new film in the franchise would see these killings as possible brand marketing opportunities. Originality. Years ahead of influencer culture. This is long before Gypsy Rose became a thing, so I'd say they were well ahead of the curve. Nowadays, there are many killers who have been glorified, celebrated, and even sexualized in our current landscape of self-published news media, so this was an interesting prediction of what was to come. Verdict. Timothy Olyphant deserves an Oscar for Crazy Eyes alone. Him and Laurie Metcalf had that pure psychopath aura that's hard to replicate. Number 5. Detective Wayne Bailey from Scream 6. Motive. Revenge for his son Richie's death. Solid on paper, but the reveal lands so late it plays more like a deleted scene explanation than a driving force. It's less personal vendetta and more surprise homework assignment for the audience. Impact. He turned Ghostface into a literal family business. For about 5 minutes. Sure, it wrapped up the Richie storyline neatly, but with Sam's arc now in limbo, this twist feels like a dead end rather than a new beginning. The franchise blew its biggest shot early, then immediately ran out of ammo. Originality. The first Ghostface dad should have felt fresh. Finally, an adult twist in a teen killer franchise, but it mostly plays like a Nancy Loomis rerun. It's the requel-sequel problem in a nutshell. Technically new, but spiritually recycled. Verdict? A revenge plot reheated in a microwaved mask. Surprising in the moment, but forgettable the second you hit the credits. Number 4. Stu Macher from Scream. Motive. Stu's motive is fittingly the hardest to pin down, and that's exactly what makes him terrifying. He's the embodiment of chaotic peer pressure. Unlike Billy, who's driven by personal trauma, Stu's motive is a cocktail of boredom, thrill-seeking, and social validation. He doesn't really need a reason to kill. He just wants to be part of the action. Impact. If Billy was the brain, Stu was the energy. His manic charisma and gleeful sadism turned the Ghostface reveal into an art form. Without Stu, the finale of Scream 1996 wouldn't be half as memorable. He gave Ghostface a personality, transforming the killer from a faceless entity into a horror icon with a sense of humor. And decades later, his cult-like fandom, people convinced he survived that TV to the face, speaks to just how deeply he resonated with the audience. Originality. Before Stu, slashers didn't really share the spotlight. The two-killer twist blew minds in 1996, and Stu's hyperactive energy balanced Billy's cold calculation perfectly. He's the first Ghostface to make you laugh one second and cringe in genuine discomfort the next. He's pure chaos. Verdict. Unhinged, hilarious, and dangerously relatable. Stu is the class clown of killers. He brought humor to horror, but in a chilling and fun way, and his legacy is still haunting us 30 years later. Number 3. Roman Bridger from Scream 3. Motive, family rejection, and creative control. A lethal combination. Roman Bridger is the secret half-brother of Sidney Prescott, abandoned by their mother, Maureen, like a red-headed stepchild, before she ever became a victim of Billy Loomis's obsession. Where Billy's motive was emotional, Roman's is existential. He wasn't just angry at Sidney, he was furious at being erased. He grew up watching the Prescott mythos unfold without him, a literal outtake from his own family's story. That resentment metastasized into a filmmaker's delusion. If he couldn't be part of the story, he'd write the story, and direct its bloodiest sequel himself. Impact. Roman's impact is massive. Even if Scream 3 gets flack for being the most exaggerated and Hollywoodified of the sequels, his reveal doesn't just twist the movie, it retcons the entire franchise. Roman is the unseen hand who manipulates Billy and Stu into the original Woodsboro murders, which makes him the puppet master of the entire Ghostface mythology, which single-handedly reframes everything we thought we knew about the series up to that point. Originality. Roman stands out for being the only solo Ghostface in the entire franchise, and that alone earns him a spot in the upper echelon. His motive blends familial drama, creative ego, and industry satire, a perfect storm of Hollywood narcissism. He's both the auteur and the villain, staging a third-act reveal that's equal parts soap opera and meta masterpiece. Verdict. The director from hell. A film school dropout with abandonment issues and Final Cut privileges. Roman might not have the franchise's most grounded motive, but it's easily one of its most thematically perfect. The killer who literally writes his own sequel. It's a clever spin on the family dynamic, a little soap opera, a little Shakespearean tragedy, but the sheer impact and originality push him way up the list. You could argue he's the reason this whole bloody franchise exists, and that's huge. Number 2. Mrs. Nancy Loomis from Scream 2. Motive, classic maternal vengeance. Pure, primal, and disturbingly understandable. After Sidney killed her son Billy, Mrs. Loomis snapped in a way only Scream could make feel both tragic and theatrical. Her motive isn't rooted in fame or ideology, it's grief weaponized into obsession. She blames Sidney not just for Billy's death, but for dismantling the entire life she built around him. Impact. Nancy Loomis elevated the Scream formula by proving that Ghostface could evolve beyond teen angst and meta jokes. Now we're dealing with heavy adult trauma. Her reveal shocked audiences. No one expected the unassuming journalist to be the mastermind behind the sequel's carnage. More importantly, Mrs. Loomis established a franchise theme that would echo through nearly every future installment. Revenge runs in the family. Originality. Mrs. Loomis is essentially the franchise's reverse Mrs. Voorhees. Instead of a mother avenging her dead child's campers, she's avenging her child's murderer. It's a clever inversion of the horror tradition, filtered through Scream's satirical lens. While she mirrors Billy's personal motive, her approach feels colder, smarter, and more methodical, a grown-up evolution of his rage. Verdict? The PTA mom from hell. Polite, determined, and armed with generational trauma. Laurie Metcalf turned a grieving mother into a horror icon, and her unhinged crazy eyes still outshines most modern killers. Number 1. Billy Loomis from Scream, 1996. The original. Motive, personal revenge. Pure and primal. Billy's entire life was wrecked when Sidney's mother's affair destroyed his family, and he spent years quietly weaponizing that pain. What makes his motive so strong is that it's emotional, not just a theatrical thirst for attention. It's not about fame or fandom or some meta obsession. It's about rage, betrayal, and the twisted satisfaction of making someone else hurt as badly as he does. In a series full of killers chasing clout or chaos, Billy's anger feels disturbingly human. Impact. The Woodsboro massacre starts here, and every Ghostface after him is chasing his shadow. Every sequel, requel, and reboot still traces back to his blood trail. Billy is the reason Scream exists. His killings didn't just terrorize a town. They created an entire horror mythology, one that Sydney, Sam, and now even her daughter can never truly escape. Originality, the blueprint. Billy reinvented the slasher archetype. Part brooding boyfriend, part cold-blooded killer, with just enough charisma to make the reveal sting. Before him, horror killers were mostly masked monsters or faceless maniacs. Verdict, the prototype. The OG mask with mommy issues. Smart, grounded, and frighteningly believable. Every Ghostface since has been a sequel to Billy Loomis, and like most sequels, none of them quite measure up. And that's every Ghostface ranked, from the forgettable wannabes to the legends who redefined horror. But hey, horror's subjective, so feel free to drop your own rankings in the comments below. Just don't call me after midnight. Thanks everyone for watching, please leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel if you like the content. I will see y'all soon. Until then, stay scared.